Welcome back again, guys. Today I'm going to do something I have never ever done before, and I don't think I'm ever likely to do again. You see, the thought occurred to me after my last review that having been gone for such a long time, the longest time I recall ever being away, wouldn't it be an ironical symmetry to take the shortest possible break, as in the very next weekend? And in pondering which Series 4 dragon to do next, I read a comment from John Doe requesting the Series 5 Komodo. Now, I normally want to do them in sequence, but since John's request was so timely, and I'd already broken that trend once when I reviewed the Series 5 Water Dragon during Chinese New Year last year, I thought I'd do it. So, this is the dragon we're going to be reviewing today, the Series 5 Komodo. Now, as I mentioned when I reviewed the Series 5 Water last year, I have to reaffirm this. In my opinion, taken as a series, Series 5 has the most beautiful and visually stunning dragons. Don't get me wrong, we've seen a few really good ones in the other series, but only in Series 5 have I seen a confluence of so many dragons of high caliber coming together. So, here he is in box. The one thing that immediately fills up your view is wing. Just promises to be a striking feature of this dragon. You know, I love the way the dragon looks out at you, framed by the surrounding wings. There is a nice balance, you know, one wing below and in front of the dragon, another wing behind and above. In fact, I might go so far as to say you could even display him in box. But that's not going to be the end of this review. Oh no, he's far too awesome for that, confining fate. So out he comes. Here we are. The Series 5 Komodo comes in three parts. You have the right wing, you have the base, and then you have the dragon itself. Now, I have quite a lot to say about this dragon, so this time for this review I'll do things a bit differently. Usually I talk about the base, then the dragon, and then I put them together. Today I'll split the review in two. First, I'll talk about the dragon, and then in part 2, I'll talk about the base and the piece as a whole. So this time first, the dragon. My immediate thought is, thank the Dragon Lord. Remember how much I loved Series 1 and 2 Komodos? And I saw a very clear family resemblance between the two. And then along came Series 3. How I feel about him upsetting the works, you know from the other short bash video that I did. And I just want to show you very quickly that in Series 4, the Komodo again is completely different and rendered in a deluxe version, and so it is of a different scale. But now, finally, the original design aesthetic has come back to the Komodo dragon. Now, semblances to the Series 1 and 2 are immediately obvious. The body itself is quite small, just like with the Series 1 and 2 dragons, with proportionately large wings. You can see the similarities such as the head type. Show you the heads look pretty similar. Here, the unusual horns, and generally the makeup of the animal makes it clear that they will display well together. But alas, there is one glaring difference. Can you spot it? Yes, there are no forelimbs. So we do not have, in fact, a true dragon, but a wyvern. And as you know, I generally do not feel very kindly towards those. Still, all is going to be forgiven, as you'll see in a while. Now I'm going to put those guys aside, put these other dragons aside, and focus on the star of today's video. First thing that's going to strike you are these outspread wings. grants the dragon a majesty it truly deserves. The wings are separate, which allow him to fit in the box, and that's what allows him, when assembled, to spread those wings in a way the Series 1 could not. Fortunately, I had no issue with attaching the wings to the body, the way many Mammalian dragons do. Of interest is this eye spot over here. Now, eye spots occur in real animals throughout the animal kingdom. You see them on butterflies, for instance, where it serves as a form of defensive mimicry. They look like the eyes of a much bigger animal to would-be attackers. And they may also serve as a warning, as warning signals to other predators that they are in fact dangerous or poisonous. They might also be part of display in order to be attractive to a mate. I'll leave it to you to decide which it is in our dragon. Texture-wise, I'm actually going to use this wing to show you. There's a very, very interesting mix of both the leathery as well as the scaly. You get a sense of very different textures here. On the one hand, the leathery wing membranes with the vasculature supplying blood and nutrients to this huge organ, but also up here you have a sense of the very reptilian scaling. And this is the case as we proceed upwards of the frame of the wing. Now, there are many modules of different sizes throughout, and in the consistency of design, you see on the forelimbs, the underside, these mini overlapping plates. You get the feeling that this creature is armored. Even the usually delicate wings seem to suggest some form of hardening. And we'll talk about the scales next. Now, scales on this animal are just exquisite. You'd think that with a small animal, it's harder to get detail, but no. First, notice the shape of the scale. Look at the back. I'm trying to shed some light on the here. Now, it's a very unusual mix of tetragonal, pentagonal, and hexagonal interlocking arrangements. The neck, the back, the shoulders of the animal, and the thighs, down to the tail, they have a rather uniform appearance that is nonetheless interesting because of these interlocking shapes. But that's not all. Now look closely. In the middle of many of these scales is a very tiny, rich nodule. That is insane. I mean, they didn't have to do it. You know, it's when sculpts are full of additional unexpected detail like this that you know that a lot of effort went into it. So there's a lot of detail on this animal. I think you're able to see that right here in the middle of some of these hexagonal shapes, there is a raised nodule right in the center. And that's really something that, you know, you really wouldn't have minded, because it's one of those things, you know, unless you're looking at it really, really up close, you wouldn't miss it. I also like especially the way these belly plates are shaped, with a continuation partway up the underside of the wing arms. They're not just painted or carved in. The separate pieces actually stick out in bold relief. You get a sense of the overlapping nature of these plates, and it's especially deep here in the belly. You can almost imagine the whole setup accordioning as the animal flexed and extended its abdomen. Let's look at the back. Now the back, at first you might dismiss the spines as just, you know, another typical embellishment. But not so fast. First, the color. The very dark blue-black on the back of the animal fades very, very nicely into this jet black color on this rather spiny appearance. And we're not just looking at one row of spikes, we're actually looking at three. You have a central row of spikes down the animal. I apologize, it's a bit hard to pick up on the camera when things are black. But you see a central row of spines, and directly flanking these two rows of additional spines. They just look dangerous and evil. And third, here's what I really love. Now have a look from the side. Notice the overlapping nature of these spines. Well, it is ultra realistic to me because it's exactly how the spines of our own vertebrae in the thoracic region overlap. And this is really a treat for an anatomy buff. Now we'll go on to the head now. The head is really amazing. It's quite similar to the series 1 and 2 with these very unusual horns. And this time they're going for a ram's head look. And if you look at a picture of the ram's horn, you'll see the obvious modeling. There are distinct regions of the face as well, with each section receiving its own set of textures and line and fine cuts. I like the curl of the tongue. And again, the face is rather short, typical of the other two Komodos that we've seen. Just a reminder, that's what it looks like here. And also here. So short-faced creatures, very scaly, very similar, and you have hints that all these three Komodos are in fact related species-wise. Now, color. Color is an interesting and somber palette, generally speaking. Somehow this dragon blends two very unrelated colors together. You have the orange and a very dark blue-black of the body. And here's, I'm just pretty amazed that these colors can segue from one to another very seamlessly. On the wings, they work perfectly to mirror a similar scheme on the body. And here's where I feel the paintwork really shines. Look at how the detail of these corrugations on the belly are brought out by are highlighted by color. And again, I'm astounded by how well these usually non-complementary colors work well together in a very inoffensive way. It's really nice. The back is unusual, and you see these two rather irregular shaped rows of spots that remind me somehow of, fire. And then it hit me. What impression do I get in terms of visage, the horns, the mix of blue-black, and the fiery orange? Well, the image I get is one of a creature from the underworld. So we're going to put the whole dragon together now.